like, hey, wait a minute. I don't give a damn if a nigga had a rough childhood or not. That don't have nothing to do with me. When you come to me and you say, "Oh, Zala, he had a rough childhood," girl, I don't give a fuck. I'm still about to cast a spell on his ass.
Y'all, I do not do that. I don't do that. But I do feel like men that go through a lot of trauma in their childhood and they refuse to heal from it, they refuse to acknowledge it, they grow up to be bands. They really do. They grow up that let me not say bands. I mean, that's what they grow up to be. And so that's what they deserve. What she said is what they deserve. Do I do that? No. Would I pay somebody else to do that? Absolutely not. I do believe in karma. I do believe that karma only believes in reciprocity. She goes around, she looks at everybody's situation and, she deals what was given. And I do feel like in karma's mind, she'll be like, okay, you gave out this, so I'm going to give that back to you. And I had something way worse in mind for him. But since you felt like you was going to do my job for me, then I'm going to just let him have what you felt like he needed. And then karma going about her business. And I don't want that. I'm a Scorpio. I want him to get the worst. Whatever karma had for him that she can, that's what I want. So I don't do that, but to each his own. No, the video was funny. That's why I started this video off with that video. It was definitely funny. And I have ran into a few men like that. Now, I just became spiritually aware about a good 2 years ago. And that's probably a good thing because it was when I was, 35, 36? How old am I? 2 years ago is when I became spiritually aware to the level that I am now. So that's probably a good thing. Had I became spiritually aware when I was still immature, some of these niggas would be around here crawling on their bellies. They would be cursed to crawl on their bellies for the rest of their life in their next 3-4 generations. So it's a good thing that I just became spiritually aware that much 2 years ago when I had matured past a certain level in life. So I'm not knocking her. I thought the video was extremely funny. So, but today's video is going to be about fighting bands.
Alien superstar. Whip. I'm too classy for this world. Forever I'm that girl. Need you diamonds and pearl. Oh baby, I'm too classy to be.
Hey, hello, all of my fellow angels. It probably has been about 2 or 3 weeks since I last posted a video, and I don't have an excuse. I have been procrastinating. I have been undisciplined. I have been resting in my feminine. I have been overthinking and a little bit discouraged, just a tad, just a little bit. I also have been allowing myself to be overworked in these nursing homes because, a girl has bills, but I'm sick of it. I'm sick of these nursing homes. I am over it. And so I'm back in front of the camera and I missed y'all. I really, truly did. If you are new here, my name is Brooke Ebony. I am doing a spiritual battlefield series. And this series is about the battles that I have fought. Some of them I didn't even know. Because, the conspiracy theory is that you volunteer when you're just existing and, you're just existing and floating. You volunteer to be portaled through whatever portal you decided to come through onto Earth, and you're dropped into the battlefield of life. And it's good versus evil. It's God's side and it's the other side. And maybe God's side was down a point or two when he decided to send what he considered to be his strongest soldier, because I don't know how I got on the list. I don't even think I volunteered, but that's the conspiracy theory, I don't know. That's what they say. So that's what these videos are about. When you first come through the portal, your memory is erased. And so we have to leave behind manuscripts. So this is my version of the manuscript. And like I said, today we are going to talk about being on that spiritual battlefield as a heterosexual woman. No offense or shade to the LGBTQIAW mental XPZ community. I have nothing against that community. I love everybody as long as I love who love me, honey. Not in that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm speaking to the experience that I'm having and the battles that I have fought. Okay, so we're gonna talk about these B.A.N.s, and I really feel like they are the pawns that are sent in by the other side to slow you down, especially if you're a high ranking angel, especially if you are a high ranking feminine angel, baby. They send them B.A.N.s in as pawns. They don't even be knowing that they pawns. B.A.N.s are not born, they're made, and they are made through the trauma that they deal with in their childhood, the trauma that they refuse to heal from, the trauma that they refuse to face. And because they refuse to heal from it, face it head on, and choke it out and get rid of it, they end up growing up to cause a lot of pain to themselves and to others. Some of it they are well aware of, and a lot of it they are not. So I can honestly say that this is no judgment to my upbringing or anybody. Like I say, life is a battlefield, but it's also a school. We're all here to learn our lessons. But I was not taught the signs. I was not taught what to look for when it comes to unhealed little boys and men's bodies, unhealed, traumatized little boys that are in men's bodies, aka B.A.N.s. I'm trying to be good. Hey, duality. But anywho, so let me just go ahead on and explain that with all the things that I went through with my second husband, who I absolutely do believe was spiritually aware when I met him. He became even more spiritually aware, and I do believe that he was going up against me spiritually. I feel like they do that to gain control and the upper hand over you. But I met him when I was 23 years old, so not too much on me now. Don't judge me too much. But I was 23 years old, and I met him through an acquaintance. I won't call her a friend, and I won't go too deep into the story of me and her. We can save that for another video. But I met him through her, and I remember the first red flag was the fact that he had a crush on her sister. And to be honest, the real first red flag was the fact that her sister wasn't shit. She was pretty, but she was definitely an ain't shit bitch. So the fact that he had so big of a crush on her should have been that should have let me know, like, bro, I ain't your type. But anywho, I digress. I'm trying not to throw shots. Don't get me wrong. I'm not perfect. I am not perfect. I'm not going to act like, I didn't let him get me on that first night. I can expose myself, honey. I'm not perfect, but I do not intentionally cause harm to people. And I dang sure don't do it as a shortcut in life. And I dang sure don't do it in a spiritual way. That throwing rocks and hiding your hands shit, I don't like it. I despise it, as a matter of fact. But anywho, so that should have been the first red flag. He was flirting with me, acting like he liked me and all of that. And whole time he was really trying to get at her sister. And she told me that night, I think. She told me that night, or maybe it was the next night, I think she told me that the next day, because she had asked me the next day, did we, and I told her, yeah. And that's when she told me that he called himself trying to get with her sister. And I think she said that sometimes, the sister might, flirt with him back a little bit, but for the most part, the sister didn't want him. And this is the official first red flag. The sister didn't want him because she thought that he was feminine and down low. Again, let me say this again, because I don't want nobody. I have nothing against the LGBTQIA elemental PXYZ community. I have nothing against that community. But the DL community, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. And I dang sure don't like the ones that play with people trying to keep that identity on the low. I don't like it. I don't support it. I'm not with it. I feel like it should be against the law and people should have to go to jail for it. I honestly do. But anyways, I had only known the man for a day, so I couldn't speak to him being feminine. But the way that I think now, and if you are a young girl watching this, the way that you should think is where there is smoke, baby, there's fire. Where there is smoke, there is fire. So when I heard that, even though I had already let him get me, I should have ran. This is the third clue or sign of a ban. The reason why I couldn't run is because he had already got me, honey. It was a gold pack out of a gold and black box. If you don't know what that is, I don't know what to tell you, but honey, I call it a demon pole. Those are for demon poles. So even though, and that's why, I think condoms are definitely important and definitely use them, but they really, when it come to spiritual ties, they don't matter. They don't stop that. They might stop the STDs, but they do not stop the spiritual ties. So he had already stuck his hook in me. Anywho, so I ended up in that situation because I was running from a past situation. So whenever you're, doing that, you pretty much participating in foolishness and fuckery. And when you're doing that, you attract it. And so that's what I attracted. And so I hadn't wrapped up the loose ends on that situation, and he was running from a past situation of his own, and he hadn't wrapped up the loose ends on that situation. So just a bunch of mess. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm perfect, because I'm not. But I ain't nowhere near. Anywho, let me keep going. So we end up together. Long story short, we end up together. I met his mom. His mom was living out of state at the time. But when I met her, she was definitely giving that what you doing with him type of, like what you, that is a huge red flag. When his family telling you too good for him, when they asking you, what are you doing with him? How did he get you? What is this? Where did you come from? Why are you here? Why are you with him? Run. So that was another red flag. She had came down from where she was from to visit, and then she went on back home. But had my discernment been where it is now, I would have been able to detect that she was an ain't shit bitch. Pretty much. That is another sign that man is a B.A.N. or an unhealed, traumatized boy in a man's body. I'm trying to be good. You choose whichever name you want to choose. But if his mama and his sisters and the other women that he surround himself with ain't shit, run. Even the acquaintance that I met him through is an ain't shit bitch. I should have never even, if I had my discernment had have been where it needed to be, I would have never even been cool with her. So, but that's another video for another day. Going on, long story short, we moved into this townhouse. It was a new built townhouse. No one else had lived in it, I don't think, or either we were the second people that had lived in it. And this was 2012, I want to say. So the rent was only $900. But at the time, in 2012, that was some high rent there, honey. And I think I was 24 at the time. So that rent was pretty high, but I was a nurse. I was an LVN. They call it LVN in Texas, but in Arkansas it's LPN. So I was a nurse. I was making good money, but I was also pregnant. So I got pregnant. We moved into this new built townhome. And anytime you're with a B.A.N., especially one that is spiritually aware, especially one that is 9 times out of 10 surrounded by bitches that ain't shit, witches on the other hand, you will start to lose stuff. So I got the job, we got the place, I ended up pregnant. So I think I ended up pregnant after we moved into that house. Yeah. So we had broke up, and that wasn't nothing but God. We probably broke up maybe 3 or 4 times before, especially when it came to that acquaintance's sister. And this is how you know that a bitch ain't shit, because, side note, I'm always getting distracted. She never wanted him. She would never deal with him, would blow him off. And then when me and him get together, we had been together for like a good, I think like a year, and we ended up breaking up. No, maybe a few months. So we had ended up together for like a few months. She finally wants to give him a chance. He breaks up with me to go back over there with them and be with her. That's how you know you her, just in case you're wondering. At the time, I didn't look at it like that. But just in case you're wondering, if you make his pussy game go up, baby, you're her. Because that girl she thought the man was gay, never wanted to get with him. But he gets with somebody that has a career, making good money, got her own house, her own car, and pretty. Now all of a sudden, she want to give him a try. Baby, if that ain't shit, bitch, honey. So just in case they ever see these videos, yeah, I said it, and it is what it is. Anywho, so back to where we at in the story. So we had moved into this new build townhome, and then we got into it, and he left, and I found out that I was pregnant. As a matter of fact, his brother was into it with his girlfriend, the acquaintance that I met him through, and they both went on and moseyed on to some other girls. Just that's another sign. It can't never go get their own place or get their own room until y'all figure out what y'all gonna do. They always go and lay up on another woman. But anywho, so I find out that I'm pregnant, and I just text him just to tell him that. Not, oh no, I miss you, I want you to come back, blah, blah, blah. I don't even think I text him to tell him, to be honest. Did I? I think I did text him and tell him when I found out, and he didn't reply. And then maybe like a week later, he texts talking about, can he take me to breakfast or something? And we go to breakfast, and he tells me, we talk about everything, we make up. He said he's coming back home, and he have the nerve and audacity to say, can you stop lying saying that you're pregnant now? I already had my daughters from the first marriage. So why would I even play with you? I have 4 kids, and I don't even care for kids. And he know I don't care for kids. So why would I even play with you like that? So that lets you know the type and the caliber woman that he had been used to. And his sisters too. They probably would do folks like that too. Baby, no, not me. I don't play them type of games. As a matter of fact, I think I did want a boy. Because any other time, baby, I'm not that one that be on no pro-life type. Anywho, I was like, if it's a boy, let me just hold off just in case. Because I did want a boy, and shit, I was already pregnant. So it was like, so we make back up. I go on, we go on in the relationship. I got, I'm working my good job. Let me say that. I'm handling the bills. But I ain't gonna just take it away. He did tattoos. He's a barber. So he would feed me real good. He would do what he could. I ain't gonna make it like he was paying bills, or he would put gas in my tank. He would feed me. We kept food in the house. We was always going out to eat. Stuff like that. But I was handling them bills. And then, like I said, whenever you with somebody like that, you will start to lose stuff. So when I was about 8 months pregnant, I ended up losing my job on some BS. That's another story for another time. But it was definitely some BS. When you heard, baby, them coworkers, especially if they ain't, and 9 times out of 10, 90% of the females at the job ain't shit bitches that's jealous. And so they be wishing bad on you, sending you evil eye and all that stuff too. So I ain't gonna completely blame him. But I ended up losing that job when I was about 8 months pregnant. I knew I wasn't gonna be able to get another job at 8 months pregnant. I only had maybe like about a paycheck's worth saved up. So I knew once I had him that I wasn't gonna be able to pay the rent. So I called the landlord, right? I'm trying to explain to the landlord the situation. This is how you know you with a ban. I'm trying to explain to the landlord the situation. I'm 8 months pregnant. I'm probably not going to have, this month's rent, whatever month it was, because I think I had the next month, but the month after that, I knew I wasn't going to have that rent because I was going to have the boy, my son. And so I'm trying to explain it to him ahead of time. So that way, I didn't want to lose that townhouse. I could just tell, and I probably lost it because of this. I could tell that folks was hating on us about that townhouse. They didn't think that we deserved it, honey. So I'm trying to explain to the landlord the situation. So that way, he will already know. And I'm telling him, like, when I have him, if you give me about a week or two, I can get another job. Because, nurses, you can, as a matter of fact, the person who I met that first acquaintance through used to, when she called herself finally letting her mask drop and letting it be known that she didn't really like me like that, she was like, bitch, that's why you get fired every Friday. And it's like, I get hired every Monday. So what? So, as a nurse, you can easily find a job. It's nothing. And so I'm trying to explain that to him, like, give me a little bit of time and we can get back on track, which is something I should not have been doing because I just had or would have been just having a baby. But I will never forget. And this was a Black man that I was renting this townhouse from. So I am not making this video bashing all Black men. I know it's some damn good ones out there. But I'm explaining this situation to this man, and that man said, don't you have a man living there with you? Isn't there a man living there with you? Mind you, he was on the couch listening. He heard it. And at the time, I'm unaware. I hadn't been taught any better. I didn't know. So I started making excuses for him. My empathedness hadn't kicked in. So if he was embarrassed and felt some type of way about the fact that not only am I on here trying to, talk to this man about an arrangement for the rent, I'm making excuses for him. If he was embarrassed or felt some type of way, I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it at all. I didn't think he even cared. He seemed like he had checked out. It seemed like he didn't care. But as I'm thinking back on it, he probably was super, I didn't know at the time how men felt about the way other men think of them. I didn't, and he gives off vibes of like he don't care about what anybody thinks of him. But knowing what I know now, he probably was super embarrassed. Super embarrassed. But whose fault is that? I'm on the phone like, well, he's a barber. He doesn't make that much. He doesn't make it. Y'all. Oh my God. Thinking back on it. And that's, I'm starting to think like, dang, maybe I was a little bit wrong. Maybe I was a tad bit wrong, but I was on that phone like he's a barber. He works for himself. He doesn't make that much. This is what I'm telling the landlord, y'all. And the landlord was pretty much like, what is he there for? Why is he there? If you are about to have his child and he can't pay the rent for you, like, y'all, the man did not hold back. He did not try to be nice about it. At that point, it's just, it is what it is. That was my should have been. I didn't learn this lesson until years later when I finally took my little memory walk, when I started to wake up spiritually and I finally took my little memory walk. You don't lend your wound to nobody that can't take care of you. Physically, emotionally, and dang show financially. Dang show financially. There is no way that I should have been carrying his child. We weren't married at the time either. We were not married yet. So there is no way that I should have been carrying his child. But they will impregnate you on purpose. He was acting like, he didn't want any more kids, but I digress. They will impregnate you on purpose to gain control over you, pretty much, especially somebody that was on that shit the way I was on my shit. Like, I ain't trying to brag or nothing, but I was on my shit. So, anywho, that happened. And so I finally have, I always call my son the boy. I have my son, and about 2 weeks after that, right after I had him, not 2 weeks later, right after I had him, my blood pressure started to rise. And 2 weeks after is when I ended up in the hospital because they said that I had 2 seizures. So I had one at home. I remember I had an interview and I had got that job too. So this was, my son was 2 weeks old. I had just had him. I go on this interview, I get this job, and I just remember that night I went to sleep at home and I woke up in the hospital. They said I had had a seizure at home. He said he called the ambulance and the ambulance took me to the hospital, and then I seized at the hospital. I don't remember any of it. I woke up in ICU, like, what is going on? I remember a little bit of it. I do remember waking up when I was in the room where they examine you at. And I remember my mom asking him, where are the girls? And he said, I forgot they was there. So, he left them there pretty much. And I just remember saying, because he's so stupid. I remember saying that. And then I don't remember anything after that until I woke up in ICU. So I don't even remember why I was in the hospital. But what I do remember, which is so crazy, is that my aunt and uncle were there. They weren't even there when I had the boy. So that it was weird that they were there. But, stick with me for a little bit. When I got out of the hospital, he had thrown away my breast milk. That pissed, they had switched and put my baby on formula. And I know for a fact that I had pumped enough milk where it should have lasted until I was able to come home. And so I'm asking him, why did you throw my milk away? And he was like, because you was taking them blood pressure pills. Now, I am a nurse. I am far from dumb. When my blood pressure started rising, I'm letting the doctor know, hey, I am breastfeeding. Can you prescribe me something that is safe for breastfeeding moms? So not only had I been taking those meds, I was taking blood pressure meds that were safe for breastfeeding moms. And I had already been giving him the breast milk that I was making while I was taking my blood pressure medicine. So, and the reason why I feel like I ended up in the hospital is because I did not take the blood pressure pills that day. And I had pumped enough milk that day to where it should have lasted. And this man don't even pay that type of attention. Like, don't get me wrong. He's a little, his elevator don't even go all the way up to the top, which is why I didn't think he was even paying attention when I was telling the landlord that he couldn't pay the rent. Shit. His elevator don't even really go all the way up to the top like that. So the fact that he threw my breast milk away was a little bit suspicious. It was a little bit suspicious. And I didn't realize it until, like I said, until I started to, the blinders came off of my eye and I took my little memory walk. The reason, because I felt fine. It's giving that man threw my breast milk away because he had put something in my food or in my drink. Now, that's alleged. I don't know for sure, but it's giving. He had, like I said, the people at the hospital that normally don't even show up. I had been in the hospital so many times before then. And these people, it wasn't just my aunt and uncle. Well, it was my mom's brother and his wife, who is also a nurse. So it's giving that she probably is the one that told him to throw that breast milk away. And then my dad's mom and his brother. Like, where y'all? I had been in the hospital a lot of, I had 2 other kids and then, things that happened between then, and they never really showed, like, where y'all coming from now? It was all just, and I can laugh about it now. Cause shit, it didn't work. I have gone through hell and hot water making this video. So, if it is whatever, if he put something in my drink that, his mama or sister or whoever, whatever, they went out there in the woods and put in the cauldron or whatever, and they call themselves trying to cloak it or whatnot, baby, it didn't work. That's why I will never understand about B.A.N.s and even females like that. Like, if you do anything that you do, you should be able to go out into the middle of the street and scream that you've done it and not feel no type of way. If you're doing stuff that's putting you in shame, you are just putting yourself further down into hell. Shame is extremely low vibrational. Shame is probably lower than them trying to do whatever they was trying to do to me for the life insurance. We just gonna keep it a buck. Like, you really putting yourself deeper down into the pits of hell. But yeah, he was a barber. He did a lot of barber shows that I completely supported him on. I was paying for the rooms, paying for the gas to get there, paying for all the supplies and stuff, because he's talented. I ain't gonna set up and make it like he's not talented. So he would be doing different designs and stuff like that, you know, designing the clothes and, you know, all of that. So I would be buying paint and glitter and used jeans and stuff for him to spray paint and do whatever they be doing at the hair shows, all that elaborate stuff that they be doing. I used to support him in all of that. And I even helped him get his first barbershop. And baby, I'm here to tell y'all, do not ever do that. They will do nothing but resent you. He was not thankful. He was not grateful. It was nothing but resentment. And I'm guessing because the people around him was like, you wouldn't have that if it wasn't for her, I guess, which is insane to me. It is so, but I guess it's just a men's thing. I guess it's their ego can't handle it or whatever. But honey, I did all of that. And just for him to turn around and try to poison me, put our child in danger, and think that he's saving our child by throwing breast milk away, which maybe that, no, because I didn't pump after I ate. I had pumped all of that before I even ate. But I guess he felt like he was saving him from ingesting whatever he had put in my food or in my drink. And this is all alleged. I don't know. But what I will say is the girl that he was with when I first met him, she is no longer on Earthside. She had twins too. She had a son and some twins. That was so crazy. But she is no longer Earthside. Honey, he had a baby on me. That boy's mama is no longer Earthside. His own mama is no longer Earthside. So hey, like I said, it's alleged. I don't know if he put something in my food or in my drink or what, but I know now that they will do that type of stuff so it can look natural so they can get the life insurance. That's what I mean by a ban. And that villain origin story, like attracts like, you know, with the down lowness. You know, I dealt with that as a child, being tampered with wrongly as a child. So I'm sure he dealt with that. I'm sure his villain origin story, that childhood story of his, I know for a fact that he dealt with poverty because he told me that. So he believed that a man, his younger sibling's dad was his dad. He even carries that man's name. And he found out when he was 16 or 17, one of them, that man wasn't even his daddy. It ended up being his oldest brother's daddy is who his daddy is. That's what I mean by saying that his mammy is a ain't shit bitch, you know, God rest her soul, whatever. That villain origin story, it helps me to forgive, you know. But when you on that spiritual battlefield, baby, you have to keep your eyes open. I'm not even going to say that the man didn't love me. He probably did in the way that he knew how to, in the way that he could. And most of the time when you hurt, you'll start to soften their heart. And I guess, you know, the mission is to try to soften it enough to where they won't make that decision when they're faced with that decision. By whoever brings that decision to them, that really doesn't even matter. The mission pretty much is try to get their heart soft enough to release them from the hell that they were born into, so that they won't make that decision. Like, you know, yeah, I love her, but I love money more. I'm trying to get a barber school. I'm trying to, you know, I want to elevate in life. I'm sick of her always winning. She always the one with the money. She always, you know, I'm trying to get ahead too. So you say all I got to do is put this in her drink and they won't know. And I can get half the life insurance. When he done been in poverty his whole childhood, ain't never really had too much of nothing. His family had already, I think they did that to his uncle. If we just gonna keep it a buck, you know, family was already into that type of, that was the only way that they knew of how to come up out of the hell that they was in, which is insane. Instead of, I'm just gonna, you know, repent and ask for forgiveness. And he chose that. And so I can absolutely forgive him because I'm sure his childhood, my childhood was not perfect. I wasn't taught a lot of things, but I definitely didn't grow. I can honestly say I didn't grow up in poverty. I don't know nothing about that. So You know, some of the stories that going to sleep hungry and, having to wear dirty clothes to school. And I don't know nothing about that. I don't know nothing about that. From the pictures that I saw, it seems like, he wasn't feminine so, whatever sexual abuse that he went through as a child, like I say, I dealt with that as a child, but not that far. I told on the person that was trying me as a child before they could even get that far, honey. That's why, sometimes I can honestly say that even as a child, I know a lot of people hate to hear it. They hate to hear it, but baby, once you get past a certain age, you have decision-making abilities. And I made the decision, like, I'm not going to let this man penetrate me at all. Like, let me go ahead on. And my mama, she went through her own things as a child. I don't know everything, but I know she's a violent woman. So I waited a little bit. It's some stuff I still haven't told her because I knew that she wasn't going to just be on my mama fight. My mama told pistols. She ain't. And when I say she fight, baby, I'm not talking. A lot of people just be talking. No, my mother swings. She don't play. She gets down. So I think I waited a little bit to even say anything because I knew that it wasn't going to be no talking. And it wasn't no talking that first night. She came through the house with her gun swinging because I was at her mama's house. She came through that house like how she always have been. Now, did I grow up in poverty and all that? No, but I did grow up with a violent mother. So, but it was either I'm going to have to deal with him doing that to me, or I'm going to have to go ahead on and let my mama whoop his ass or do whatever, she's going to do to him. My dad was in prison at the time. Now, I did deal with that. Well, like I said, we all have our villain origin story. But will I do what my second ex-husband tried to do to me to anybody else? Absolutely not. It's not that serious. Maybe that's why other people is out there, casting their work on them. Y'all saw the video. Let me play it again.
I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I don't give a damn if a nigga had a rough childhood or not. That don't have nothing to do with me. When you come to me and you say, oh, Zala, he had a rough childhood. Girl, I don't give a fuck. I'm still about to cast a spell on his ass.
But that's the story of the second ex B.A.N. that I ran into, honey. Whatever the potion is, it didn't work on me. But like I said, honey, that ex that he was with before me is no longer Earthside. His baby mama is no longer Earthside. His uncle is no longer. Baby, anytime you around somebody and a lot of people around them, I always pay attention when you're on that spiritual battlefield, honey. So to bring it all together, this is the first B.A.N. That's why I say, the first husband that happened, but I feel like, this is a generational thing. I feel like, even though I was a daddy's girl, my daddy definitely was on some BS when it came to women. And that's why I ended up, once I dissolved that first marriage, ended up going through what I went through. I don't know exactly all of the details because I'm not in that world. I'm not into that stuff. This is just my story. What happened to me, the battles that I have had to fight. Looking back on it, every time somebody ended up not being Earthside, that man came up. When the uncle ended up not being Earthside, he ended up getting a car. And then I helped him get the barber shop. I hate that too. Oh my gosh. When that girl that he was, breaking it off from, when me and him first met, right after she ended up not being Earthside, he ended up getting his own barbershop. And then, me and him break up. He called himself leaving me for a woman that she like almost 60 something. I know her son is older than him. And she suffers from the C word. So, but I think she plays in that world too, which is why I feel like, he would probably be more comfortable with her. I wasn't spiritually aware. I don't know anything about that stuff. And I don't even think that he practices because he's dirty. And I don't mean like like he's junky. Like he is not clean at all. That's one sign that I can say. And I know that because of my daddy. If a man if he's clean, like super clean, because they know how that energy works. They, like I said, my ex-husband's elevator don't go all the way up to the top. But a man that's really in that, baby, run. I don't recommend that. Don't do it. Don't do it. But if a man is junky and dirty and nasty as my second ex-husband was, he's not the one that's doing the work, but he's definitely probably either paying somebody else to do it or messing around with a woman that does it. Hence the wife that he have now. This is all alleged, just in case they try to sue me. I don't think they got no money to sue, but just in case, it's alleged. But hence the woman that he's with now, she probably, but and then every time somebody ended up not being Earthside, he came up. Now, I don't look back at them. I don't check their social media. The last time I saw anything of them, it was because other people was sharing they posts. So, they be doing visibility work and stuff like that. So they was getting invited to award shows around Little Rock. Girl, award shows in Little Rock. Anywho. Yeah, so I seen that and I saw that she had called herself starting a beauty salon. And this was right after I lost my shop. If you go over to my other channel, I'm sure I collaborated with this video with my other channel. That was all that channel was about. If you're new here, I am an esthetician too. And I had another channel all about building salons, anything that had to do with esthetician stuff and, personal stuff too, but mainly my esthetician business. And so right after I lost that salon, she ended up renting the salon that was right next to it. She wasn't even in the beauty industry at all. So, allegedly, I don't know, y'all, and I really don't even care, but I do feel like my truth needs to be told so that I can go ahead on and move on in life, for one. And for two, I wish somebody would have been telling their story so I can put two and two, like, hold up. It probably would have never went that far. And I honestly do believe, I don't know, y'all. I think the only reason that man married me is because whatever little potion that he put in my drink or in my food didn't work. They probably were so used to it working, he just knew he was finna get him some life insurance, honey. He just knew. Child, and I honestly think that if it doesn't work, they have to bring you into some type of agreement, or just like, a marriage agreement, something serious like that, So when he's seen that whatever little potion that his mammy or grandmammy or the woman that he with now, or whoever done put together for him, probably in the cauldron out there in the woods, whatever they do, child. I don't know. I'm not in that world. He's seen that it didn't work. He waited for a little while because we didn't get married until I think my baby was like almost 2 when we finally got married. So I think he probably seen that them walls was closing in on him. He got a little scared. He was like, let me go on and marry her. So that way, that work don't come back. And the only reason I think that, y'all, when you don't learn a lesson, it don't even matter that you're blind to it. When you don't learn a lesson, you will have to go through it again. So do that mean I got another? Absolutely went through that again. Same, not the same, but sort of something kind of like it, I'm not ready to talk about that one yet. I'm still a little, girl, that second husband, it was easy to get over him. But honey, that third one, I ain't really, but I will, because I said I was finna end it off with but let me just end it off here. Every time somebody around him ended up not being Earthside, he came up. And it seemed like as he was falling, somebody else would end up not being Earthside, and then he would come up again. whatever he did to me, you know, it worked a little bit, probably because I had some karma that I needed to pay off. And also, because I was so blind, you know, your spirit team, your angels, your ancestors, even the Most High will allow things to happen so that you can wake up. It didn't wake me up. That's why I went through it again. So I forgive myself. Anywho, so he did what he did to me, and he married me to keep that from, you know, coming back on him. And then I guess he felt like he was bigger than the program. And him and the lady that he with now, you know, the one that she suffers from the sea. So it'll come, it'll go, it'll come, it'll go. So it's giving. She's switching that energy off with other people, allegedly, y'all. I don't know. Allegedly, you know, the ones that really do know about this, if you run across this video, chime in in the comments. You know, I might leave my email down there. Email me, you know, let me what you think. But yeah. That's the first, the most significant ban that I ran into, because that's the first one that took me. It didn't wake me up, but that's the first situation, which is so, I bet you my spiritual team probably was up there like this. God, throw a rock at her. It didn't wake me up, but he absolutely. Anyways, y'all, I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.
I would like to get to know if I